Lee is a bit preoccupied at the moment, so I guess I'm going to be your guest reviewer for today. Okay, let me know when I'm on. Oh, crap. This is Dina, and I'll be reviewing Panzer Dragoon Saga for the Sega Saturn. Unlike the previous Panzer Dragoon games, this one is a full-blown RPG and it's very character-driven. This is Edge, the main character. I recall reading in the instruction manual that he's only about 15 years old, but he's a pretty hardcore little 15-year-old, as you can see. But he is a typical teenager and easily distracted by a pretty face, apparently. I have edited the hell out of this opening FMV, but when you play the actual game, you're going to want to just sit back and enjoy it because it's like 10 minutes long and it's just beautiful to watch. There aren't too many games I can think of where the story starts off with the death and resurrection of the main character. The only other one I can think of is off the top of my head is Soul Reaver, which also happens to be a favorite of mine. Enough about the opening, let's move on to gameplay. This game plays like a dream. Unlike the previous Panzer Dragoon games where you were on a rail, you can fly anywhere in this game. And when I say anywhere, I mean anywhere. And once you really get a good look at the gorgeous backgrounds in this game, you will really appreciate having that ability. One thing I remember about the earlier games is that they also had nice backgrounds, but you were stuck on this rail and it seemed like everything went by too fast. But in this game you can just go as slow or as fast as you want. The levels are fairly easy. You can just zip through them if you want, or you can just wander around and just take in everything if that's what you want to do. And again, unlike the earlier games where you're flying around and fighting things the entire time, you fly around and random battles pop up, more like a traditional RPG. The battle system for this game is also really simple, and this is where it's maybe a little more like the older games, where you have the A button to fire your gun and the B button to fire the dragon's lasers. The only thing about that might be considered a drawback is that, unlike the previous games where you drag the cursor over the targets and select them that way, the dragon pretty much picks targets at random to fire at. But the dragon has such an obscene amount of lasers that it usually isn't a problem. But if you ever need to pick like only 1 or 2 targets to fire at, you'd want to use your gun for that. Throughout the game, your dragon also learns some really cool special attacks referred to as berserk attacks. Whenever you do one of these attacks, it uses up points. It's pretty much like the magic points in an RPG, only in this game you have berserk points. Also, you may have noticed by now that at the bottom of the screen there's a radar that shows your dragon's position in relation to where the enemy is, and you can be behind them or in front of them or off to the side, and they can also choose where they are in relation to you, and you circle around each other basically, and it's chaos, but it's controlled chaos. There's a neat little feature where you can name your dragon. Probably one of the coolest things about this game is the fact that your dragon has the ability to morph into different types of dragons, and you can control that. And basically what you do is you change the shape of your dragon based on what kind of attributes you want it to have. I always choose agility and attack power, but you could also choose defense and spirituality, which means its berserk attacks are very powerful. And you can pet your dragon. He's a good dragon. He likes to be petted, and you can like run around and play with him, which I don't think there's any real use for that. It's just fun, and he tries to impale you on his horn. I guess that's how he shows affection. Now, if there is one thing that really sets this game apart from the others in the Panzer Dragoon series is the fact that you actually get to run around without your dragon and talk to people. And of course, like any RPG, you get to go into shops and buy and sell items. You meet some very interesting characters in this game. Like Gash, for example. He's a recurring character. He's kind of odd, and I think Edge just doesn't know quite what to think of him at first. And then there's Payet, who is really little more than comic relief, but he's a favorite of mine. There are 2 dragons in this game, and they could be considered characters in their own right. This particular dragon is called Atome, and he is going to be the subject of your nightmares from now on. He also has about the best villain music since One-Winged Angel. There is one more character that I haven't mentioned yet, although you've seen little bits and pieces of her, and that's Azelle. But if you want to know anything about her, you're just going to have to play the game, because almost anything I could say about her would be a spoiler. So that's my review of Panzer Dragoon Saga. It's just about my favorite game of all time. I admit I sound like a fangirl, but it really is an awesome game. It's unique. I don't care how much it's going for on eBay. Just buy it. Okay, bye.